I have applied for upwards of 800 jobs. I've honestly lost count at this point. It could be more. And in that amount of jobs that I've applied for, I've only had an interview, I think, with 2 or 3 jobs, and I haven't had an interview in months. That was
Wow, folks. I don't know if she's exaggerating. 800 jobs and you only got a couple callbacks. Wow. I think she might be applying to jobs that she's not qualified for. To apply to 800 jobs, I think you might be applying to too much. You need to maybe get your niche or get your occupation a little more specific. But let's finish up here, folks. Layoffs are about ready to explode. We're going to talk about that later in the video, but it's already really bad. And we're finding out the numbers that we were given for many years weren't accurate, as we had kind of came to the conclusion already. But we'll get into that here later in the video. But take a listen to the rest of this.
months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago, right around the time when I started applying for places when I got laid off in April. It has been crickets for the last few months. I spend upwards of 2 or 3, 4, 5 hours a day just sitting on my phone, sitting on my computer, applying. I have applied things that I'm overqualified for. I've applied for things that I'm underqualified for. I have applied for things that I quite literally meet every criteria they're asking for, and I still get rejected.
I hope she's not cursing at the job interview like that. I had to cut out the curse words. You probably didn't hear it, but she's cursing a lot. Maybe she's just not a good interviewer, but she only got 2 interviews, so let's continue.
I honestly don't know what to do. I've revamped my resume 6, 7, 8 times. I've made resumes specific to the job that I'm applying for. I've created cover letters. I have done everything you can possibly think of, and I am at a loss. I received unemployment, and they said that my unemployment was depleted. I got that for a few months. They stopped giving me unemployment just like, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Unemployment stopped, so I'm not receiving unemployment anymore. I'm a single mother of 3 children. I pay all my bills on my own. I do have a partner, and people were like, well, you're not single. He doesn't live with me and he doesn't pay my bills, but he has been trying to help me, but he has his own bills. He has his own home. So he's...
Right, you guys get the point. I'll give you the name of that content creator. And some of these people are creating online accounts just to talk about their financial situation, just to have somebody to vent to. And we're going to hear from a few more people. But that was Kirsten Eats. Folks, let's get into this. We've got people breaking down. The United States, people are breaking down. People are giving up on the American dream. And we're going to get more into the financial, economic news later here in this report and the numbers. But let's hear from a couple other people here. Oh, but first, did you guys see this news report? You might have remembered this one here. This CEO, a tech CEO, laid off 80% of his staff because they refused to adopt AI fast enough. 2 years later, he says he would do it again. So what a lot of the people were expected to do was to, of course, adopt AI like it says. But what I think happened was some people just maybe weren't good enough at their job to do it. And then 2 other people were afraid that the AI was going to take their job. But what he ended up doing, the CEO, Ignite Tech was the name of the company. He ended up laying these people off. So they ended up losing their job anyways. All right, so stories like that, a lot more like that where that came from here, but take a listen to this. All right, folks, before playing this one, you can see she's upset. We're not playing these videos to make fun of anybody. We're playing these videos to show you what probably most people, 70% of people, because that's the number of people barely scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck. The studies do show that. Most people that lose their job are in distress unless they can go out and find another job. But as you heard from the first person, that's not always easy. It's very competitive right now, especially with all the layoffs happening federally. The job market's very, very competitive. So we're not putting these videos out there to make fun of people. We're putting them out there to learn and to also give people a little bit of caution. And this could very easily happen to you. I could get laid off next week, right? I have a few different streams of income. But any one of those streams of income, if they go away, would not be a good thing. I mean, I've got a little bit of a emergency expense put away. I've got investments I could liquidate. So I'd be okay for a few years. I could even sell my home. It's got some equity, but everybody's not in that position, and people, they go to tears here. Take a listen to this.
I just lost my job. My job that I've had since 2014. They decided that they're going to terminate all domestic employees.
All domestic employees. Oh, I thought the jobs were going to come back. Remember how everyone was optimistic? The economic confidence indicators were rising at the beginning of the year. People said the jobs are going to come flying back to America because of the tariffs, folks. None of it has happened. There may have been some jobs coming back, but more jobs gone than coming back as far as I can see so far. I mean, we're only, 6-7 months in now, going on 8 months.
So, yeah, all us United States employees are being terminated. But our overseas employees, they get to keep their job. Oh, God. I'm so mad. I'm so angry.
Now, some of you may be thinking, big deal, you lose a job, get another one, folks. When you're living paycheck to paycheck like 70% of Americans, it's very stressful. Now, some people may lose a job and they've got another income in the household. Maybe the spouse is working, and then they can draw unemployment, things like that. But some people have their backs up against the wall, backs, and they don't have a second stream of income, or another person that maybe they're single mothers, etc. All right, finishing up here.
Why does this keep happening? This is the second job that I've had that has let United States employees go to continue their, company, but with foreign employees only, simply because they get paid less. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I need health insurance. I need money to pay rent, my bills. Why does this happen? This is not fair. This is not right. I'm a good employee. I do my job efficiently. I go above and beyond. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Wow, folks. People are actually putting themselves out there. I don't like anyone to see me cry. I'm not a crier. The rare occasions I actually cry. But when I do, I don't want people looking at me crying. There's people so desperate and so torn up right now. They're willing to put themselves out there in front of tens of millions of people. Who knows how many views she's going to end up getting. But that's what people are resorting to because they're so desperate they don't have anyone to talk to. The screen name for her was Thrifting is My Therapy with the number 2 at the end. So she's into thrifting. It sounds like she's into saving money. And when you see people like this that are so torn up and so devastated from a job loss, when you see people like this, what I think about is I think about people, how much money have they wasted, right? You would think that someone putting this video out with this type of reaction to getting laid off and losing their job, you would think they may not have much money in savings, that they're at a breaking point, right, financially. But then you want to look back at their spending habits and say, okay, how many amusement parks have they been to? How many subscriptions do they have, Netflix, etc.? How much money are they spending that they don't have to spend? And that's one of the things I try to integrate on this channel is be careful what you spend your money on. If you don't have an emergency savings, I would recommend not having any extra things that you don't have to have, right? No entertainment. I mean, there's entertainment you can get for free, right? I mean, obviously, to be watching this, you've got to have some sort of internet connection. That's not free. And I would say that you need internet nowadays, not just for entertainment, but for paying bills, for researching, for communicating with friends, family, news, everything, right? More people are moving away from TV and on just the internet. So when I say entertainment, I don't include internet in that. I consider internet a utility that people need Not always, though. There's people that live off grid that would argue with that. And you probably won't see too many people in comments arguing because they don't have the internet to even watch this video. But anyways, I digress. My point is, look at your finances, find out what you can cut out. And to some people, you may be able to cut out internet, right? If you don't do all those things that I just listed. But somebody like this, I would really like to look at her finances, her budget, see what she spent the money on. But a lot of times people don't spend money on unnecessary expenses like entertainment. I think people eat out too much at restaurants and fast food too much. I think more people need to cook at home. But then when I talk to certain people about that in my circle, a lot of times it's just a time thing. People are like, I don't have time. I work 2 jobs. I have to get up. I have to go to fast food drive-through. Then I go to the next job. And then I'm so tired. I just want to go home. I don't want to cook meals. I get it. Some people, they are forced to spend extra here just to save time over there. And it ends up kind of being a snowball effect where you're spending more, Then you've got to work harder. So it's almost like a cat chasing its tail. It's around in circles here. But let's get into some more news here. We're going to hear from a few more content creators here in just a moment as well, though. First, though, did you guys see this? Job market gloom hasn't been this bad since the Great Recession, going back to the financial crisis. What do they mean about that? So I'll go over the numbers real quick, folks. And this is data from the University of Michigan. And this was put out by Axios and other places. Americans have not been this gloomy on the job market since the Great Recession. Fears about joblessness have surged since the beginning of the year, partly because of the tariffs, but also more layoffs are happening. So it's almost like the tariffs have put a fire under a lot of the CEOs and companies to lay off even more because now expenses are higher, even for raw materials that they have to use to manufacture and produce things are higher. So a lot of companies are cost cutting because of that, and we're seeing layoffs accelerate. So of course people are more fearful now, and then you get laid off and prices are even higher because we know that inflation is ongoing. It's not stopping and its prices aren't going down. About 62% of consumers believe unemployment will worsen in the year ahead. So the optimism is worsening. And we could see why. I mean, we see these people out there, they're devastated because of a job loss. And many people can't find another job soon enough to replace that job. Another laid off individual goes by the screen name of the Grim Runner. Let's take a listen.
Y'all. Now, being how personal this is, I was not going to talk about it, but I seen so many others impacted online, so I got to tell my story. And I've been working IT for over 15 years. I transitioned from UPS over to this company because I thought it was a fresh opportunity on the restaurant technology side of IT. And the reason why I need to tell my story, because just something just seems off about it. I was the only one of us on the team, and just the way that the entire layoff was handled was a little bit sketchy. So I got laid off on July 21st on that Monday. Didn't even get to start work. I got called into a meeting as soon as the workday started. The way that the meeting went was pretty much, hey.
Oh, these are all recent layoffs, by the way. I picked out ones just from the past couple weeks. Obviously, he said he was laid off at the end of July.
It's strictly a financial decision, and your particular position has been chosen to be eliminated. Now, my
financial position or financial reasons, nothing personal, right? We hear that over and over.
I'm the only one of me on the entire team. Actually, it's probably, I think, 2 of us in the entire company. But they bring in a new guy a couple weeks before who does the same thing that I essentially do, minus building menus, but he comes in with a different position name. So this threw me completely off because, mind you, I have no reason to believe that my position is in any danger. None whatsoever. Like, minus a little bit of coldness, the past, I would say, like, year from my CIO. But as far as, like, my other team members, everything was straight for the most part. Like, I looked at them guys as my brothers, so I thought. I even worked on my cousin's funeral day 2 days before because I didn't want to take bereavement time. Now, of course, I still ended up going to my cousin's funeral, but that's how dedicated I was to the team. I didn't ask for bereavement time. I literally worked, jumped in our everyday Monday meeting, and then I cut out for the funeral a couple hours after and was even checking in on work throughout that day.
Wow, you listen to that. You could be very, very dedicated to this company. This guy was working the same day as he had a family's funeral, but the company's just looking at the bottom line, folks. And there's a big misconception out there. People think that if the company's profitable, they're not going to lay people off. That's not true, folks. Companies want to have increasing profits, right? So the profits that they had this quarter, they want next quarter to be even bigger. It's called growth. So just keeping the same profits from month to month or quarter to quarter, since that's when they're usually reported, that's not good enough, folks. They're going to want bigger profits. Therefore, even with record profits, they're still going to be looking to get rid of people. That's the bottom line, folks. And he was shocked. He was surprised. Let's continue, though. We appreciate these people sharing their stories. Let's finish up here.
So when I tell y'all that this layoff completely came out of left field, I was bamboozled when I got called into that meeting. There was no empathy in the meeting at all, none whatsoever. It was pretty much from him just, hey, you know what? This is a financial decision. It's just business. And that was it. I was immediately locked out of all systems, couldn't get into email or anything anymore like that. And then there was no type of follow-up after to ensure that I was okay. Now, this is where it starts to get tricky.
Wow, immediately locked out of all the systems. You can't say goodbye to coworkers. You can't, probably can't even look at your last paycheck if you're locked out of everything. Just wow.
Yeah. So I was promised 3 weeks of severance, a payout for my vacation time, but 2 weeks went by and I heard nothing from HR. So mind y'all, once again, I was laid off on July 21st. I sent them an email on Friday, August the 1st, didn't get a response. And then on Monday, August the 3rd, I sent them another email and finally got a response. So to say that they don't have their shit together is the very least. One of the HR representatives that emailed me back didn't even know what the hell was going on. Now, mind you, I still have the company equipment in my possession. I got everything because the company is 100% remote. I'm here in Nevada. I didn't get anything. Now,
wow, is he going to have to sell the company equipment to make up for his back pay that he didn't get in his vacation time? This is crazy.
Also, the way that I was paid out. So when you get laid off, I'm pretty sure, based on whatever state you're in, I'm in Nevada, that you're supposed to be paid out at a particular time. So the week that I worked before, I got paid out like the following week as if I was a regular employee. And then for that Monday that I worked, the day that I was laid off, I got paid for that Monday the week after. So I didn't essentially get a last check. I didn't get paid out for my PTO. Mind you, today is what? August the 12th?
Right, it goes on, folks. I gave you the screen name. Maybe go check it out if you want to see the full video. The point of that was there's a lot more to getting laid off than just losing a job and finding another job. Sometimes you don't get your back pay. You don't get your vacation pay. Sounds like his company basically ghosted him. They ghosted him, and then the person he contacted at the HR division didn't know what was going on, folks. So it's cold. It's heartless. It's strictly a financial decision, and it can happen just like that. You may not have any warning, any sign that it's going to happen, and just one day it happens, right? So be ready. Try to have money put aside. And the point of this whole thing, this whole topic, is not just to keep you caught up on the news and what's happening here in the U.S. It's to get you ready for it, right? Have an emergency fund. If you can cut back on spending, if you can maybe not take as many vacations, I would recommend doing it. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer. There's been a year, sometimes a 2-year stretch that went by, and I didn't really take a real vacation. Now, yeah, we went out, did day trips, had a weekend here, a weekend there, but a real vacation where you're off for 5-7 days, taking a cruise, Bahamas. I haven't done something like that in years. I probably should, though. And I'm at the position right now where I probably could, but I'm a little bit concerned still, well, a lot concerned, I should say, having a family, having younger people in my family. I feel like I need to not just have enough money for myself. I feel like now I've got to make enough money for everybody else in case they hit hard times, like some of these people, or like some of the people we see on the sidewalk, right? I've got a whole new level now of concern versus what I would just have if it wasn't me. So that's why I'm still trying to, stay on top of these things, still trying to look for different streams of income, and everything else that, that we preach about here in this channel here. But let's finish up with this. And here's something that we warned about many, many times over the years. And this is electricity prices, people, and it's going up, and it's not really reflected in the inflation numbers that we're given. And what do we see here? Electricity prices are climbing more than twice as fast as inflation. So when companies know, and these electricity utilities company, they know that people are not going to go out without, they're not going to go without electricity, and they're going to pay it whatever it is. They could triple the price tomorrow, and people would argue about it, and they would complain, and they would probably even try to pursue legal action in some cases. But I bet they would try to pay that, because you can't lose your lights, folks. You can't lose your electricity. That's especially here in America, we're too accustomed to that. But some people are. Some people live in the camper life, the van life, living in their cars, tents. We talked about it all here in this channel, folks. What do you think about this, folks? That Americans are giving up. It's getting worse. More outsourcing happening with companies. Because why? Labor's still cheaper across the world, many other countries, than the U.S. because the cost of living hasn't come down. Until the cost of living comes down here, until somebody finds out how to fix that, and I know how they can fix it, but nobody's really interested in doing that. Until they find out how to fix it, jobs are going to keep getting outsourced. There's going to be continued layoffs. Things are going to continue to worsen. And it doesn't matter, tariffs, none of that matters. Lower interest rates that they're pushing for, none of that's going to help, folks. If the cost of living doesn't come down, companies are going to continue to look for jobs where labor is cheaper. Because where the cost of living's high, they have to pay higher wages. Really simple, folks. But we're on top of it for you. Thanks for being here. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Keep stacking, everybody. Bye for now. Peace.